Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Friday. We're feeling like clowns here lately. We've had no end of shenanigans occupying our day. The Reddit scandal unfolding. So like somebody's been upvoting all of our content at Reddit, and Reddit thinks it's us. Anyways, Reddit is not us. We don't have time for that kind of bullshit. We barely have time to produce a show. Damn it!
Upvote our own stuff.
Upvote our own stuff, but it's not from our account because I'm the only one who runs the Midas Letter. Our Midas Letter, but we don't actually use it for anything, so I don't know why they're pointing fingers at us. Anyways,
doesn't matter.
Not a big deal. Today's Friday. What big news happened in the cannabis space this week? Well, Avicanna started trading yesterday. Avicanna? You don't know about avocado? What's the matter with you?
That's a fruit, right?
Avicanna? No, that's an avocado.
Oh.
Avicanna is a pretty skookum, medically focused cannabis company that just started trading, but they've been doing heavy biopharmaceutical research at the Mars Center here, which is kind of the center of biopharmaceutical research in Canada, and they've been doing that under the auspices of Johnson & Johnson, Fortune 100 company. Anyways, they're also partnered up with the largest what?
I got a question for you.
Lay it on me.
What do you think of this flower company pulling their offering because of conditions not being? That's what they said. They said.
Well, I find it interesting that they created the conditions that were not optimum for an offering by, I don't know. I didn't look at the offering memorandum.
I guess it's a debenture. I think it's a convertible debenture. So maybe people are unloading their stock to go into.
Yeah. So well, I don't think so. I think it was more a case of like $120 million debenture at what? What was the conversion price? Don't know. So I'm assuming, without even looking, that the conversion price was at such a discount to where the stock price was that it catalyzed a stampede for the exits, and and that's kind of like, it's, I guess, what you would call a case of unsophisticated financial message marketing. So yeah, hey issuers, if you're going to raise a big ton of money like that, you really need to think about how you communicate that to the market, your financial, or rather your stock performance condition at the time, and what the effect is likely to be, because yeah, you can really ruin yourself that way. What's the stock at now?
Well, the high it hit earlier was 523, I believe.
Now it's backed off.
Now it's backed off to about 485, I think.
Oh, okay. So it's almost back to where it started.
Yeah, 485. But, yesterday, as we were watching, we said, look, if we had a little better intel, could have pulled the trigger.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
And
yeah, well, you said this thing's a buy, and we should be buying it at the open.
The RSI was at 22, which is, now it's at 38. See? See?
So you were right again.
Well,
you were right again. Anyways, we have quite a cool show lineup. So we're going to talk to Aras Azadian he's the CEO of Avicanna Inc. And that's a pretty interesting and revealing conversation. Fraser Toms is going to act as news nurse Betty today. Notice that he just changed his name from Fraser Toms to Betty. Anyways, probably not going to like that. Joe Mimran, legendary fashion entrepreneur in Canada and globally, sold Club Monaco to Ralph Lauren for, I can't remember what the price was. I don't think it was
$200 million or something.
I don't think it was disclosed because Ralph Lauren was private at the time, and so was Club Monaco. So
no, Club Monaco was public, I think.
But anyway, so he joined the board of Chiron Life Sciences, who, as we like to be fully disclosed, is our client, and so he'll be here. But also Valerie McCulloch is going to join us from Shatterizer Inc. And this is a particularly interesting device, in my opinion, because this is the only way to dab without getting out all of the equipment normally associating with dabbing, which is like pipe, dab rig, spike, torch.
It's a lot simpler.
A lot simpler.
People like that.
And it's like so clean that you could actually be at a concert and do a precision hit of like 80% shatter in a single dose and throw away the little ceramic tab and nobody's the wiser.
Really?
Really?
Nobody's the wiser.
Nobody.
What about
Except
Budweiser?
Maybe when you're exhaling, Bud might be wiser.
Yeah. Wow.
If the guy standing in front of you's name
So what
is
does
Bud.
that mean? Why do they use the word shatter? Is it because it's like...
Because that's what it does to your brain. That's what just smoking above 80% concentrated THC, especially absent any CBD, that's what it does to your brain. Actually, causes probably all of your most functional brain cells to shatter.
Synapses are firing.
Well, I think they're not firing. I think they're like just keeling over and dying. They're just like...
Oh, okay. They're doing this, but there's no noise.
Yeah, they're like... And that's it.
How is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, have you tried shatter?
I don't know.
You don't know if you've tried shatter?
I don't know.
Believe me, had you tried shatter, there'd be no doubt in your mind that you had
would
just
you
tried
say
shatter.
a chocolate bar is a shatter bar?
No.
Because sometimes they call them that.
No. Shatter is generally concentrated resin.
But it's like it's got a glass consistency or something.
If you dehydrate it sufficiently, then it's like caramel. Cookie,
like the
toffee.
like the top of a what's
It's
that
like,
nice dessert?
It's like spun sugar.
Where do you get that dessert?
Spun sugar.
No.
Baked Alaska.
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
You fire up it.
Kind of like that.
At the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Flinty. Can be flinty. But anyways,
Like a little piece of glass, but it's not.
you can have shatter that's still in its liquid phase, more or less, but you got to heat it up because it's so thick when it's concentrated. Like, anyways, normally to do is hit a shatter. You got to put up the dag rig. You got to bring out your little propane torch or butane torch, and you got to heat your bowl. Then you got to dip some shatter out of your whatever vessel, unless it's totally dehydrated and it's dry shatter. And then you drop it in the thing, and then you got to inhale it, and so it's a big production. You need to be sitting down at a table generally. And the Shatterizer does a great job of compartmentalizing the whole dabbing experience into a single hit in a single device that looks fucking great. I tried it down in LA. It was fucking great.
So it's a single hit.
A single hit.
What if it's not enough?
Well, then you put in another single hit.
Why don't you just get a double barrel version?
Ooh. Hear that, Shatterizer people? It's time for a double barrel Shatterizer.
Yeah.
Ooh, I bet you they're going to do that now.
Yeah.
And maybe what's wrong? Why not move right up? Never mind triple and quadruple. Let's just move right up to the Gatling gun effect, like.
The Gatling gun.
Shadooba, shattered. Here's Nurse Fraser Betty with the news.
Here's your cannabis news for today. Halo Labs announced its inclusion in the OTC Markets Cannabis Index, which trades on the OTCQX market under the ticker symbol OTCQXMJ. The index's goal is to highlight for investors the diversity of cannabis companies that meet the financial disclosure and corporate governance standards required to trade on the OTCQX market. Companies eligible to be included on the OTCQX Cannabis Index must be traded on the exchange, be identified as having operations in the cannabis space, and meet a minimum liquidity screen. The index is rebalanced on a quarterly basis. Aurora. And here's your cannabis news for today. Columbia Care Inc. announced its intention to repurchase up to $25 million USD in common shares of the company. Columbia Care is undertaking in the repurchase program because its management believes the market price of its common shares may not reflect the underlying value of the company's business and prospects. The repurchase program shall commence on July 23, 2019 and run through July 17, 2020, or on such earlier date as the repurchase program is complete. The price the company will pay for the common shares shall be the prevailing market price at the time of purchase, and all purchased common shares will be canceled by the company. 1933 Industries, Inc. received approval from Clark County and the Nevada Department of Taxation for the transfer of its existing cultivation licenses to its new cultivation facility. The company will begin the transfer of its cannabis plants, including 5,000 clones and 200 moms to populate the new facility. The company expects to produce approximately 700 to 800 pounds of dried cannabis per month to be utilized for its AMA branded flower and concentrate products currently sold to licensed dispensaries throughout Nevada. Avicanna Enterprises Inc. announced the results of its North American consumer study focused on product and consumption preferences within the cannabis-infused beverage market. Over 2,000 adults of legal drinking age were surveyed on their interest and preferences in current and potential products, purchase likelihood, preferred format, and most likely consumption occasions. The study found that while smokable forms of cannabis are currently the most common methods of consumption, it was CBD-based beverages that had the highest future purchase intent. Over 70% of Canadian consumers would definitely or probably purchase CBD-infused beverages once they are legal. Namaste Technologies Inc. signed 3 new agreements with Canadian licensed producers, expanding its product offering with its online cannabis marketplace. Included in the list of new LPs is Agro Greens Natural Products Limited and Pure Synths Inc. The agreements will aid Namaste's online platform's new fee-based model based on consignment versus traditional buy and sell. CanMark currently has supply agreements with 15 LPs, over 39 strains, and 170 SKUs. And that's your cannabis news for today. And if you want to keep up to date with all cannabis news every day, head over to MidasLetter.com and click on the Cannabis Daily tab in the top right corner.
Did you know that about the Cannabis Daily tab in the top right corner?
No.
Really?
What about it?
Well, that's where all the daily news is now. Apparently, we're on top of that shit. Here we go. Anyways, yeah, don't forget to hit the bell in the upper right if you want to get alerts every time we come on live. But yeah, anyways, so we have a paltry 16 people watching right now. That's just heart-wrenching.
Friday, it's these weekends
Friday.
now, going into August.
Yeah?
Fridays are probably everybody wants to get to the cottage.
Wow. Well, hello Travis R. Hello Reefer Al. Hello Quinn Coleman. Hello Joseph Lee. Hello Kyle Horston. Can we crap on Abatis for a minute? Untradeable on CSE for 6+ months now. What happened to Abatis? You got cease traded. The whole board of directors resigned.
What are they doing?
Not just the foxes, but the chickens ran away too. I don't know.
Does it sound like there's...
Well, it sounds like shit's going sideways in a big way. If the thing's not trading for 6 months and poor investors are hung up there to dry.
Right.
Like, we should go, who do we call?
Ghostbusters.
Congressman? Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
God
call your congressman.
Let's see. Well, we'll tell you what, Kyle, we're going to look into what's happening with Abatis, and yeah, we'll beat up on them every day until they give us some satisfactory answers. But yeah, we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody seems to know what's going on. What's going on? Let's see. Today, in this day in history, there were amazing things happening. I just don't know what they were. So it was interesting that Donald Trump took credit for shooting down an Iranian drone yesterday and made it sound like the drone was really menacing the U.S. military, though the drone was found to be unarmed. So, I don't know. That's
Probably.
A good one, Donald. Way to take out that threat. Yeah!
Right.
Thank God for him.
But was it a small drone or was it a big drone?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Neither did Donnie, I suspect. Yeah, 2/3 of the heat, 2/3 of the U.S. is going to be gripped into a heat wave this weekend. And they figure that 200 million people across the U.S. are going to be affected. And that's like they expect like all records to be shattered.
Shattered.
There's that shatter again.
Jesus.
Oh.
A little bit of chatter, and then let's have some shatter.
Ooh, no, actually, after shatter, there's no chatter.
There's no chatter?
No.
Let's stop
Generally,
the chatter.
people are quiet and they're going like, ooh.
Stop the shatter.
Wow.
Stop the chatter. Bring out the shatter.
Bring out the shatter.
Bringing in the shatter.
MedMen. Another round of losses for MedMen. Did you catch their financials?
No. What's the stock doing now? Let me take a look.
Well, the...
Is that trade in the U.S. or Canada? Tell me.
trades in Canada on the CSE under the symbol MMEN. So they showed continued revenue growth, but still negative cash flow. So yeah, let's see. What did they do here? Q1, another quarter of strong growth. Sales in California increased 5% to 22%, or sorry, to 5% to 25 million. But the labor costs were higher and dragged EBITDA down to 22%. Wow. Interesting. Yet salaries and benefits in 2018 topped $30 million, up from $2.3 million in 2017. So I guess Adam's still creaming the top layer of the war chest. See, to me, you know, there's two kinds of publicly traded issuers. There's the kinds who really, the guys don't take anything off the top until the company's either achieved some level of success.
Right.
And until then, they tread water with a minimal salary in respect of investors' money. And then there's the other end of the scale, as exemplified for MMEN, who gave themselves a $10.5 million bonus after losing more money than ever before.
I know, it does seem somewhat disingenuous, doesn't it, the whole
Well, and then, but I got to say that after repeated quarters like that, where these guys are paying themselves through the nose, and it's like, well, so if you're an investor, you now deserve what you get. If you put your money into that company, you deserve to lose it because...
But you know, think about it this way. Let's say the last quarter, they lost money, and they get a bonus. So they're thinking, hey, if we lose money again, we'll get another bonus.
Well, but they're the guys voting themselves the bonus.
So
and this is the thing.
But so they're doing it as an officer, not as a shareholder.
Well, exactly, and a director. And not only that, but this is a super voting structure so that two guys control the whole company, and so there's zero risk of shareholders taking them to task. There is no recourse for shareholders to say, hey, I'm going to propose a new slate of directors because these guys are criminals.
Do you think maybe the people wouldn't have maybe put as much money into it had they known that it was going to end like this? Not end like this. It's an ongoing second.
Those hands are going to be in investors' pockets until the kitty is empty.
Until the investors are dry.
Yep. Until they're exactly. And the question is, like, what are you investing in here? Are you investing in some distant pipe dream of profitability? I tell you, profitability is a lot harder to reach when the top two officers and directors are taking 90% of the kitty off the table every year.
Yeah, and it's easy for them to vote themselves a nice pay raise.
I know.
Where did that come from? The pipe dream.
Pipe dream? I don't think I know, Edward.
Okay.
Should we Google it? Control room. Google pipe dream. Give us results in 30 seconds, please.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, you got to be careful about making those weird faces and noises on the show because people have started to make smash cut memes out of us. Have you seen any of those?
No.
Oh, really? They're quite funny.
Are they?
Yeah, they're hilarious.
Like, who'd be doing that?
People with nothing better to do who are smoking shattering crap.
I hope it's not a guy like Fraser or something.
Our own crew is making...
Yeah, they're having shatter parties at our expense.
Okay,
What's going on? What's going on?
We're going to... I had this conversation with Aras Azadian just a little while ago. Aras Azadian joins me now. He's the CEO of Avicanna Inc. that just began trading on the TSX senior board under the symbol AVCN. Aras, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Aras, Avicanna exists as a premium sort of company on many levels. You've got two Fortune 100 financial and sort of medical partners, industry partners. Your capital structure is remarkable. You started trading yesterday, a very respectable start, and you're trading at $150 million market cap, and you said to me earlier that makes this a real buy, and I'm curious as to how, in your view, how that is possible.
So I think we're a fully developed company, like you were saying. It's fully baked from a full value chain perspective. All of our infrastructure is in place. Our cultivation assets are operating at incredible levels. The research and development work we've done for the last 4 years is completed, and new projects and new versions of products are coming out. Commercially, we're active in many markets. We have many brands. We have a team of 240 today, with many of them being housed in Toronto, where our head office is, with 30-something scientists, clinicians, and for me, it's one of the most complete stories that you can see in the biopharma world, certainly in the cannabis world, and we just don't have that valuation yet that I think the company will deserve. So while it's summer and everyone's on vacation for the IPO, I think it's a great time to be involved in this story.
Sure. So you had participation from Johnson & Johnson and another Fortune 100 company. Tell me about those relationships, how they came to be, and what they mean for you going forward in the future.
Yeah, so J&J is not involved from an equity point of view. We're part of an incubation center they have where we began a lot of our research, sort of where the company was actually incepted in. It's in Mars, the center, the Silicon Valley of biotech of Canada, where we've spent the last 3 years doing R&D, product development, product optimization. We've had access to mentorship from them. We've had access to a lot of lab space, and a lot of that infrastructure made our R&D process quite affordable relative to the amount of intellectual property we've developed. Another company we work with is Grupo Dabon. They're the world's largest organic company. So they're an organic agricultural company, the largest producers of organic palm oil, coffee, banana on the planet. So having them and their industrial scale support on the agro front has been very helpful for the company. Also having the family involved and having them involved commercially in the 40 plus countries they're commercially involved has set a very good footprint for us already.
Sure. So what's your background?
Business school, economics, but I've been working as a management consultant in the biotech sphere for the last 10 years. So when I incepted Avicanna 4 years ago with the co-founders, we took the position of a strictly medical company. And at that time, everyone was obviously going towards the rec space, preparing for the rec space, and we wanted to take the harder path, the path that has much more entry barriers, the path that's going to have longevity, but that required a lot more substance, a lot more research, a lot more clinical work, and that's the route we've taken.
So a pure biotech pharma play.
Absolutely. Like we're still involved in consumer products. We'll be involved in supplements where permissible. So to simplify the business models, we do sell the raw materials. We sell the CBD, the THC. We sell them in supplement form, cosmetic form, medical form, phytotherapeutic form, and then pharmaceutical form. And then we have divisions associated to that as well. So we have a cosmetic line, we have a medical line, we have a pharmaceutical line of products.
So you're a cultivator as well, and your cultivation operations are in Colombia?
In Santa Marta, Colombia, the northwest coast. It's tropical, it's gorgeous, but what's unique about it is that it's dry. So it's the dry Caribbean, and the two words usually don't go together, but in this case it does. So some of the Colombia everyone knows is, for us, the most optimal place to cultivate, but that doesn't mean everywhere. In Colombia, there's hundreds of microclimates. They're very different. The temperature is always the same. It's the 12 hours of sunlight you need for flowering. That's great. But when it comes to the actual cultivation during flowering stage, relative humidity really matters. And I think a lot of companies are currently struggling with the relative humidity issues because that causes mold, that leaves aflatoxins within the cannabinoids or the cannabis. So those are some of the other issues that are faced. But in Colombia, where we are in Santa Marta, we have 2 facilities that we own majority stake in, that we operate, Santa Marta Golden Hemp and Sativa Nativa. Both are growing CBD THC. They have registered genetics, commercially registered genetics, which means we can actually sell. And today we have a combined about 400,000 square feet of cultivation. That was phase 1. That was a pilot. We were just trying to optimize, and now we're going to be going into phase 2.
Sure. One of the key value propositions of companies that have been based in Colombia is that Colombia is so much more, infinitely cheaper than Canada, US, or European operations. In terms of the cost of cultivation. Is that actually your experience?
Absolutely. So we've had about 14 harvests. So this is not a theoretical 5-10 cents a gram. It's true. We range in here between 5 to 6 cents a gram. That matters in the long term. Obviously, that creates margins for the company, and I think that long term, that's going to create medicine that's going to be more affordable for us specifically, because today patients are paying. And if you look at an oil tincture in Australia, it might be $300-400. If you're looking at an oil tincture in the UK today, it's £400. And I think we can really bring that cost down in a way that the company will have significant margins, but really we can make patients' products more affordable. Doctors will be then more inclined to prescribe it. Doctors will be more inclined to recommend it, and at the same time, patients will be more inclined to try it. So we believe in that. But what's really important, one of the major reasons of why we are in Colombia, is consistency. Because the climate where we are is so consistent, even if I'm using what we call low-tech greenhouses, where I have zero electricity being used, meaning no fans, no air conditioners, no humidity controls, no lights, because the environment is so consistent, I can have a consistent crop every time. Using the same phenotype, I can have a consistent crop, which means a consistent extract, and in some cases, consistent isolates. So that part's very important, especially for us where we rely on that quality.
Sure. Your focus on research in the laboratory environment, what has emerged as the most promising, exciting sort of indications for human medical use of cannabinoids?
We focus on 6 therapeutic areas. The predominant 3 are dermatology, pain management, and neurology. And within that space, what we've done so far in the last couple of years is develop our dermocosmetic line, which is very advanced. Currently, it's in clinical trials, so the clinical trials have already commenced. Those trials will be done in September. In parallel with that, we're doing a study on epidermolysis bullosa. It's a horrible skin disease. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're referred to as butterfly children. Mm-hmm. And that trial is actually taking place with Sick Kids Hospital. Mm. That's sort of the dermatology position. On the chronic pain or neuropathic pain level, we have some trials that are ongoing as well. A lot of different treatments, usually oral, where dermatology is topical. Mm-hmm. And another area that we're very focused on is neurology. So our chief medical officer is actually Dr. Hamza Ali. He's the current president of the Epilepsy Society in the Caribbean. He was a board member of the Epilepsy Society in the US. I think he was awarded Ambassador of Epilepsy this year. And he's leading a lot of that neurology program, specifically around epilepsy. So those are the areas that we're very excited about. And when we look at a particular therapeutic area, we look at it from consistent, simplified, but advanced in formulation, cannabinoid formulations. But we also look at them from cannabinoids and other drug combinations. So we've done a lot of that work over the last 2 years where we're combining cannabinoids with other drugs in what we call synergistic relationships. Simple terms, 1 + 1 = 3. Mm-hmm. And with that, you can actually patent. And with that, you're providing much better solutions than just cannabinoids on their own or just a pharmaceutical drug on its own.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to categorize the core value proposition of Avicanna, would it be a portfolio of IP and associated brands, or is it more in methodologies associated with growing a medical standard of a medical ingredient?
It's a hard question to answer. I think the simple answer would be all of the above, because we have due to necessity, we have to develop everything ourselves. Due to the lack of control and consistency and quality, really, we develop our own methodologies from extraction, isolation, to analytical testing, to bioanalytical testing. And then we realized, no, we have to actually grow. So then we went and we developed all of the processes for cultivation and all of that as well. So within that system, we created a value chain that feeds into a final product, and that may be a pharmaceutical product or a cosmetic product. However, each business unit on its own, or each vertical on its own, can be a business unit. Because we cultivate in Colombia and our cost is so low and we were doing it so efficiently, I don't necessarily need to just supply my own medical, pharma, or cosmetic products. I can supply other world-class companies. Mm-hmm. And those type of companies that are going to be entering the space are going to look at quality and are going to look at a reputation, and this is where Avicanna, as a premium company, I think is going to really stand up.
Sure. So you must be in a position then to produce isolates, extracts, etc., to an EU GMP standard?
Absolutely. So there's 3 things that goes into being EU GMP certified. First is the agricultural part. You need to be good agriculture and collection practices, GAP. Mm-hmm. We've done 2 of those audits. We expect to have that actually in September. Second part is GMP extraction, and this is a process we're going through now, and we're going to have a European Union inspection. The third piece is GMP manufacturing, which we already have. So we have an exclusive partnership with a company called Altea. It's a manufacturing plant. They produce today for Pfizer, Novartis, Merck, GSK, and Avicanna is their only exclusive cannabinoid partner. So we do all of our manufacturing there. So while the R&D was really done at J Labs and University of Toronto, we've already transferred all that intellectual property into Altea, which was not an easy process. It took us 6 months. We've produced all of those products already in pilot scale. We've produced all of those products at a scale that could now be industrial. And now we can simply order large amounts of units. Mm-hmm. As an example, we can order 3 million tablets a day. So at a scale that has not really been available yet to the global marketplace. Mm-hmm. And because we're cultivating ourselves and we have that industrial scale of API, we can actually feed into that at a global level.
Interesting. The majority of companies coming in here today in the cannabis space are telling me about this type of an approach to the medical market that's going to be EU GMP certified, that they're going to do at some point in the future.
Right.
To hear from you who have actually been doing it for 3 years as a matter of business is very differentiating for me and very refreshing.
Thank you.
But so tell me about where you're going to be next, because that's telling me where everybody else is going to be telling me they want to be.
Right.
So where do you see the industry going?
I think the industry is evolving, and I think the corrections we've saw in the last couple of weeks is just growing pains. And I think the industry, I always say, is going to start separating. You know, you're going to have your recreational companies, and I think they're going to do quite well in Canada, even locally, cultivating, you know, flower for consumption purposes. And you're going to have your medical companies. And those companies, you can't just wake up one day and say, I'm medical. You know, it has to be part of the DNA of the company. You have to have the right researchers and right collaborators in place. You need to have the right intellectual property in place. And the people that are going to be medical companies are going to be very, very different than the recreational ones. And I think you're going to see a separation between the two. And in both sides of the industry, however, you're going to see an enhancement of quality and consistency.
Right.
But certainly on the medical side, the requirements, the demand for quality, data, consistency, all the required testing, the manufacturer under GMP is going to come in. And the people that are producing products in garages, you know, around the United States, et cetera, are going to should be alarmed, because society is advanced. They're going to want advanced products. They're going to want to have products that have a sustainable source. And another angle that is very important is our cultivation is sustainable. So we're environmentally sustainable. We don't use electricity in our flowering rooms. You know, we are organic certified. We're going to have our organic certification by the end of August. So it's a different process, and I think the industry is evolving, and I would like to think that we're one of those companies that's actually spearheading the evolution of the industry.
Sure. Aras, that's a fantastic intro to the company. We'll have you back soon. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks.
So how about that, eh?
How about that?
Growing cannabis in 14 crops already at 6 to 10 cents per gram. That's like, holy cow. How is any Canadian producer going to compete with that as an input cost for extracted ingredients?
And where is this being grown?
Colombia.
Really?
Colombia. Yeah, not District of Columbia, the sovereign nation of Colombia.
No, you don't mean D.C. You know, mean
No.
Donald Trump's not doing this, and
No.
he's got an exemption for all the taxes because he's the main guy.
Well, you know, if he knew that there was a way to evade more taxes through the legalization of cannabis, I'm pretty sure he would legalize cannabis. Just saying, as you would say.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Well, there you have it, folks. More people entering the fray.
More people with their dukes up.
Yeah, I think it's gonna, you know, I think it's gonna be tough to make money. Well, not make money, but some people are going to be able to do it cheaper by being virtue in another country. And they have got good temperature there, don't they? Like, it's perfect over in Colombia.
It's 12 to 13 hours a day of sunlight and continuous temperature. Well, in the sweet spot for cannabis is 15 to 30 degrees.
They've got 12 to 13 hours of sunlight. How much, what part of the day is it dark?
What part of the day is it dark? The night part.
I know, but how much time would that be if 12 to 13 hours are sunlight? Yes.
That would be the daytime.
11 to 12.
12 to 13 hours.
Well, it couldn't be 13.
Why not?
Because the low end of the other one's 12.
Yeah.
If it was 13, it'd be 25 hours. So
that is perverse mathematics.
No, but it's true. It's true.
No, no. 12 to 13 hours means between 12 and 13 hours per day of sunlight.
Okay, so what's 12? If they say, let's say you have 12.
Yes.
And then you have, say, 12 to 13 hours of nightfall, then it'd be 13 hours of nightfall.
Correct.
So 13 and 12 is 25.
So if there's 13 hours of daylight, obviously there's
only 11 hours.
That's right.
Well, we didn't say there's 12, it said 11.
I'm talking daylight, though. I'm not talking nighttime. Okay. So whatever the leftover nighttime is.
So keeping you on your toes.
Oh, boy.
Keeping you on your toes.
Oh, boy.
Hey, did anybody ever call you, I can't think of the word.
Ah, good. Perfect. Here's Valerie McCullough talking about the Shatterizer. Hey everybody, welcome back to Midas Letter live from Los Angeles. For the second time, my guest is Valerie McCullough. She is a co-founder of Shatterizer Inc. Valerie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us here in LA at
You bet.
YouTube.
Now, I'm excited it's not every day I get to play with new devices, but you've brought an actual Shatterizer. Tell me about the Shatterizer. What does it do?
Well, we brought this actually for you as a gift.
And this is quite a beautiful unit. Like, I love the packaging. And this is one of the great things I
you.
love about the cannabis industry is everything looks so cool. Like, it's not just put together in a bike shop. It's like made with lots of good design ethos. So let me see this thing.
Yeah.
So this is for smoking shatter. Now, just for those in our audience who might not be very clear on what is meant by shatter, why don't you run through the different types of extracts and concentrates as you understand them.
Great.
And what each one does. And then we'll talk about how we
Excellent.
use this little thing. So tell me about it.
Absolutely. You get everything you need to get started with cannabis extracts and concentrates in your starter kit here. We're consumers too, so we understand. We have a backup coil here and cap. You've got your Shatterizer. It comes fully assembled, partially charged. 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. We have got your charger with pass-through technology, some backup O-rings, as well as your dab tool. Right there.
This is looking sophisticated.
And you know what? There are 19 other things that can go into your Shatterizer other than shatter. So everything from rosin to resin to wax. Nothing too viscous though. And how you load is just like this. Simply twist, gently take off the glass top, unscrew your coil cap, which helps with airflow, and you can just load right onto your coil there. And it comes with 2 quartz coils.
So I can throw in some dried flour.
No dried flour, please.
No dried flour.
No dried flour.
So this is just for extracts.
Just for extracts, extracts only. And you can actually store your extracts in this built-in wax storage container right here.
Can't
So you
store a
can
lot
take
of
it
dried
to
flour
go.
in there.
No. See, with extracts.
I get it. It's about sleek and discreet. I love it.
And portable. We want clients to be able to take it's a portable dabbing system, essentially.
Okay. So now dabs. People don't really understand dabs in many parts of the world. And in California, everybody understands exactly what is meant by dabs. So let's talk about the terminology just a little bit. A dab is what?
It is taking some shatter or some extracts and the art of enjoying it.
Okay, so when you say shatter, that's a particular form of extract?
Yes.
And what are the characteristics of shatter that make it shatter?
It looks actually kind of like shatter. It looks like a glass, and it's a very high concentrate THC. And what's lovely about shatter, as well as a lot of the extracts, is you get that full flavor. So if you can imagine, it's very, very condensed, extracted cannabis. And it is absolutely delicious. So in places like California, Nevada, Colorado, places where it's a legal and recreational market, a majority of people who are consuming cannabis are enjoying the extracts market.
So pretty effective stuff then, by the sounds of
and
it.
efficient.
Right.
And we're here actually to share a new and exciting development as well with the Shatterizer Dab Tabs Edition Portable Vaporizer.
Whoa!
Just launched and arrived this morning. We're so excited to be here with you to share it.
Show us that.
Oh, right there.
Beautiful.
Check it out.
Oh my gosh, it's even in Midas Letter colors.
Yes, it is.
Yellow and brown.
Dab Tabs Orange
Wow.
for sure. And
that is one sleek little unit.
absolutely. We've got the silicone sleeve on the inside. If you take off the Dab Tabs container at the bottom there.
This is where my stash is. There's
Yeah,
one in there.
there is one
that
in
for
there.
me?
Absolutely.
No! I'm going to get high again.
And what's different, just twist and glide, great. And what's different about this Dab Tabs Edition Shatterizer versus our Shatterizer is we have a custom coil designed specifically for dab tabs. It's shorter, it's got the groove, so it's easy to remove. And yeah, we custom built this for dab tabs.
Wow. Okay, so this is a dab tab.
Yes, sir.
And what is inside this dab tab and what is holding it in?
Well, we have some Gilt dab tabs here with some delicious wedding cake hybrid, and it is about 61% THC, filled by our friends at Gilt. And you simply place the little dab tab, lay it flat, perfectly.
How did I do?
You did great. Make sure this silicone sleeve here is lined up perfectly, just like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll screw this back in just to make sure. Here we go.
Boy.
There we are.
You could cut
And
my
then
meat for
just-
me too. All right.
There you go.
So now,
So with this battery, we have a preheat option. The ceramic dab tab needs to be heated up to about 400 degrees Celsius before it starts releasing the vapors.
and how do I fire it up?
Just click twice, and that will be your preheat option. Do you see it glowing there?
I
orange
see it,
at the bottom?
orange line in the
Yes.
dark.
That's another change that we've made from our Shatterizer is we've increased the lighting system so that people know, if you can see there, look at the vapors beginning to build off that dab tab.
Wow,
It's
little
bubbling.
convection going in there.
Amazing.
Oh, it smells fantastic. You're trying to trick me. You're trying to get me to hit this thing hard, aren't
Yeah, now just bring it up to your mouth. It's perfect taste every
you? Ooh,
time.
that's tempting. But the conversation would go in a completely different direction if I whack this, I can tell.
The amazing thing about the Shatterizer Edition Dab Tabs Portable Vaporizer is that you get the most amazing flavor with less waste.
Okay, so the product that goes in there is concentrated cannabis oil.
Well
Pure.
said. You can do rosin, resin, honey oil, distillate, shatter, of course.
Okay, let's go back to terminology. What is the difference between each of those things? Because people are confused out there.
It would be the equivalent of trying to explain the difference between, I hate to do this, but beer, wine, hard spirits, different cocktails, for example. And they're all made in different ways and refined and refined and refined.
Okay, so shatter
Yeah.
is concentrated
Yeah.
resin from the flower only.
No, that would be rosin.
Oh,
Rosin,
not
yes.
resin.
There are so
No wonder
many
everybody's
wonderful-
confused.
There are so many wonderful things that you can put into the Shatterizer or dab tab, for example.
Okay, so like it looks like a hit of ecstasy. It's not ecstasy, is it?
No, sir.
Because you can't vape
absolutely not.
ecstasy. At least not yet. At least it didn't work. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding.
Do you
So
want to double click that again so we can
Sure.
see that visual vaporization?
Oh.
It's really quite.
you bet. Is it going to
fascinating.
vaporize again though, or is it?
Yeah, it's going to keep heating up.
So now, in terms of dosage, how many
Yes.
milligrams of THC would I be consuming in one dab tab?
In one dab tab, it is the first measured system around the world. 50 milligrams.
50 milligrams
Mm-hmm.
of THC in one hit. You try,
Each dab tab contains 50 milligrams. And the
Really?
lovely thing about the dab tab is when the heat rises and you see the visual vaporization, that's the only time that the extract vaporizes. So when the heat stops, you don't waste any more product and there's no mess. The dab tab, the ceramic dab tab actually holds the matter inside, any of the waste. That's why they turn to a darker color as you use them. We find we can get between 6 and 8 inhalations per dab tab. And I swear, I wish we could taste in studio because every time you inhale, it tastes like a fresh coil, your first load of rosin, your first little bit of shatter, and it just tastes consistently great.
you sound like you're a real lover of this
Oh,
stuff.
my goodness. We actually had the opportunity to meet some of the team behind the dab tab over a year and a half ago, and we were just so excited to hear about this product. We're thrilled to be developing this pen and to have it now go to market.
So where can consumers buy this product now?
Oh, great question. They're going to be available anywhere dab tabs are sold. So that's California, Nevada, Maryland, Oregon, of course, any of these great states.
Okay, and what's the manufacturer's suggested retail price?
$79.95.
Oh, that's not so
Yeah.
bad. There's some more expensive gear out there than that for sure.
Absolutely. We're incredibly affordable.
Yeah. Okay. So where do you get the who makes the dab tabs themselves?
That is made by Dab Tabs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not
our
Halo.
partners, Halo, yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I love Dab Tabs. I've got to tell you, I'm so thrilled to be here today and discussing this product and having a custom pen that works just perfectly for them. Now, everything we develop is like Lego. It's intermodal.
So we got like these other things over here.
Yes, we've got a lot of different tops and we have different coils. Now, for Dab Tabs, we want clients to only use the Dab Tab coil because it's a little bit different, right? It's shorter, it's got the grooves, the Dab Tab lays perfectly flat in there. So if I pull this out, I can simply put in another coil and we can use other products like rosin, shatter. Let's say you weren't able to get your hands on some Dab Tabs or you used your last one up.
Versatile.
Yes.
Very cool.
There we go.
All right. Let's leave it there for now, Valerie. Thanks very much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us. Actually, I have these sunglasses
Of
for
which
you
I'm
here.
obviously obliged to wear everywhere I go from now on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Shatter, baby. So did you know that Shatterizer and the Dab Tab is under exclusive license to Halo Labs in California, and they are also actively marketing licensing of this product on a white label basis to other brands throughout the world. So this is one of the things that excites me about Halo Labs, even though they are our sponsor. Halo is a sponsor that's going to make us look really astute when it comes to choosing sponsors, I think, down the road, because they've got these products like this Dab Tab thing. The alternative to smoke and shatter is like, it's like really, if you're going to do it and dab it in a proper rig, it's like quite the production. So this thing I think is cool because I think everybody who's a hardcore shatter user is going to be like, oh yeah, finally I can dab my shatter at the... But technically I guess it's not dabbing, it's more like vaping shatter.
What is it? Is it like smoking hash or something? Like is it burn like a little?
No, so it turns liquid when you heat it.
And then you smoke it.
It's concentrated extract, yeah. And then you
smoke the
vape
liquid?
it.
You vape it.
Warms up to 400 degrees. Weren't you listening? It wasn't burning, it was vaporizing.
There was just so much smoke in the studio I couldn't see the monitor.
Really? Wow, fascinating. So this Friday is just chugging along here. Next up, I had this conversation with Joe Mimran.
Chiron Life Sciences Corp. is a Latin American-based pharmaceutical company that develops and commercializes medical cannabis products. Chiron has core operations in Colombia and is fully licensed in the country for the cultivation, production, domestic distribution, and international export of both THC and CBD medical cannabis. In May 2018, Chiron listed on the TSX Venture, becoming one of the first Colombian-based medical cannabis companies to trade on any exchange globally. Chiron Life Sciences Corp. is listed on the TSX Venture under the ticker symbol KHRN.
I'm joined in studio now by Joe Mimran. Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, Joe, you recently joined the board of Chiron Life Sciences, and your presence in the cannabis sector, you've revealed, is not new as of that, and you were actually a participant in a much earlier deal.
Oh.
Tell me about how you first got involved in cannabis.
Got involved in 2004. It was a company called Canisat, and I was one of 3 founders. And it was very early days, and it was we had an arrangement with Prairie Systems, in Flin Flon that had the only license to grow in Canada for medical purposes. And it was a very cumbersome system back then. You know, you'd have to get a doctor's prescription. It would have to go out to Flin Flon. It would get filled, and there was a whole process. And at the time, we were really, far too early because the market gave it no attention at all. And that can happen. It can happen in the fashion game. It can happen in business where you see a seam in the market, you see an opportunity, but the market is not there yet. And it morphed into being a pharmaceutical-led business. It turned into Synapsis, and then there was a successful exit. So,
Sure.
But that was my first taste for it back in 2004.
So you did that while you were busy creating iconic brands in the fashion space.
Correct.
Alfred Sung, Club Monaco. I actually was just in conversation with my associate. I've got 2 hats that I bought from Club Monaco, which were those giant furry things.
Yes,
with the
yes,
big
yeah.
ear flaps, and I wear those every winter because they are, in fact, the warmest hats in my house. But so tell me, is it the expectation of Chiron that you're going to bring that sort of brand and marketplace development expertise to bear on Chiron's?
Yeah, I think that's where I can really add a lot of value to Chiron, is to help them in thinking that through. And certainly, when you look at how the industry is going to move forward, it is going to become not just a pharma play, not just a recreational play, but then it will be more of a CPG, a classic CPG play. So how you brand your product, how you go out to consumers, how you speak to them, I think will be very important. There's a million CBD oils out there today. How do you distinguish one from the other? So you either have to have some science that really distinguishes it, or you're going to have a brand that really resonates with the consumer. And for some people, that whole idea of brand development, there's a lot of magic that goes into it. It's a bit of a black box as to how that gets done. It's what I've been doing my entire career. So
Right, interesting. So then, do you find that the sort of global legal patchwork when it comes to the legality of cannabis, particularly in non-medical, recreational, cosmeceutical brands, do you find that a bit of a challenge in developing a plan for a global rollout?
Definitely. I think that is probably one of the biggest challenges, but it's also what gives these companies an opportunity, because if it wasn't for those hurdles, you would find the big players would get involved and they would crush the small guys. So here's an opportunity to actually get involved and get ahead of the market before you're faced with competition that would roll you over normally.
What about the future for hemp clothing? I mean, hemp clothing has existed as a sort of novelty item.
Yeah, hemp clothing never worked. It never worked. They've been trying the hemp clothing thing for a very, very long time. There will be obviously a real big supply of hemp byproduct,
right?
Certainly as hemp farming. So perhaps it'll gain some more traction. But historically, hemp clothing has not meant very much in the market.
So among all of the non-medical applications for cannabis, cosmeceuticals, foods, beverages, etc., where do you see the greatest opportunity for uptake by the average consumer?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, there's a few places that I see it. I see it, first of all, in the cosmeceutical side. I think as it relates to beauty and skin treatment, I think that will be a very, very big area. I think pain relief obviously is a huge area. I think there's a pharma pain relief direction, and then there's just an over-the-counter. And when you think about the amount that is sold over the counter for pain relief today, it is $100 billion plus market that can easily get attacked by a more natural, more effective product. So I think you're going to see a lot of development in that area. And then the beverage area, I think, is trickier. I think onset, the issues of onset, the issues of bioavailability, shelf stability, flavor, all the masking agents that are used to hide some of the flavors. I think that will be a bit trickier. And I think the onset time, anytime you get into edibles and that, although that is starting to really look like a very, very exciting area as well. But at the end, it's all going to be, consumer products. You're going to need brands. You're going to need distribution, and they will follow a normal suit, depending, of course, on the regulatory issues.
Sure. You started the brand Club Monaco in Canada, and it eventually became 150 stores across Asia, the United States, before you sold it to Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
What needs to change in the Canadian regulatory landscape before you can replicate that sort of rapid success in market penetration that you achieved?
I'm not sure you can effectively build a brand in Canada in this space currently.
Due to the limitations of
due to the
Canada.
limitations. I think you can play at the fringes of it, but if you really truly want to build a brand, I think it's going to have to be in the CBD space in particular. It's going to be in the United States, because there are no regulations in terms of crossing state lines, and yes, there are regulations in terms of packaging, but not in terms of building not in terms of building a brand. So, to me, the U.S. is really where the brands are going to emanate from.
Okay, so now in the case of Chiron, their focus is primarily Latin America, but secondarily global. Do you see the branding opportunities in Latin America with less restrictions and therefore more potential for the Latin American audience?
Yes. I think where Chiron is going to be so effective is Chiron is in a part of the world that is very similar to where Canada was 5 to 7 years ago, or where even the States was 5 to 7 years ago. And so Chiron has first mover advantage. If you look at them, you compare them to, say, a Canopy, they are doing things, they are seeding the market now. They are doing so many things right in terms of social media, medical associations, clinics, communicating with the doctors in all of these countries. And you look at the size of the population that they have to work with, and a population that also relates to herbal remedies. So I believe that they are sitting on so much potential. 680 million people just in the countries that they're currently looking at right now. So you look at that size of population, 68 million medical users of marijuana and CBD. So you look at that market and you think, my goodness, what a great opportunity. And that's what excites me about Chiron. And also the talent that they've attracted. You look at Alvaro Torres. I mean, he is used to, big projects. SNC Lavalin with 2,000 employees. That's not a small business to manage. It shows that the operational skills. They've already got more than 150 people on the ground there now. They've got the ability to grow more efficiently, probably, than almost anybody, and I think that just positions them perfectly well. And they've already developed their Quita line, which is in stores and is selling, and certainly has a lot of potential as well. So
great. All right, Joe, that's a great conversation about Chiron. We'll come back to you hopefully in the future and see how it evolves. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
So, Joe Mimran, still with Chiron, still with Canopy Rivers, really in the cannabis space. Chiron, this is a shot of Chiron's Quita cream, which is actually now being sold throughout Colombia. And I checked the ingredients, and it does in fact have cannabidiol in it.
Is Quita the Spanish word for kitty?
Quita is it's a Spanish colloquialism for care.
Oh, okay.
Quita. Cuidado means careful.
Ooh, that's almost a negative word. Cuidado.
Cuidado!
Jesus.
Yeah! Anyways, let's see what's going on next week. Next week.
Big week next week.
Big week next week. We have the fabulous Nika Domi is going to be here as co-host with Ed Milewski starting on Wednesday. She's actually going to fill in on Monday too. And Nika is from Mind Your Wealth, and she's got a book coming out, and she's a Polska Ogórka. So it'll be Polski Ogórki with Polska Ogórka in this chair over here. And where will I be, you wonder? Well, I'll be in Baltimore on Wednesday for a 2-day symposium. And then I will be on the coast of Oregon, where we will be shooting. We're going to shoot some footage at our sponsor, Halo Labs, cultivation operation in Medford, Oregon. Then we are going to go to Palm Beach, where we're going to shoot at Cathedral City, some extraction and packaging, and we're just going to do some general road tripping with our friends at Halo Labs to check out their operation and their connectivity to the whole market. So that's going to be fun. What else is happening next week? We're probably going to be coming to you live. No, we won't be. No live backyard next week.
No, well, you won't be there.
I won't be there.
So,
but we will have a couple of hits from me on the beach in.
Why don't we surprise you and go to wherever you are, and we'll surprise you. We'll do that. That'll be a show there.
That'll be the show?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Give me lots of warning. So
good luck.
Make sure
Good
we're
luck.
not there.
Okay.
So yeah, lots going on next week. Lots more coming up. The cannabis industry is going to get back to business pretty soon here because we're coming into August. The slow doldrums will probably start to peter out, and money will start flowing back in, and it'll be happy days for all. Gold closed out the week higher again. Copper is up. Lots happening economically here to suggest that we live in interesting times, and they're about to get much more interesting. Anyways, don't forget to click the little bell in the upper right of your screen if you haven't already. Subscribe at the website, MidasLetter.com, and we'll see you next week. Have a fantastic weekend.